you.
Yeah, cool. I think we are live.
All
right. Hey, everyone. All right, let's jump right into it. My name is Alvin, and my background, in summary, I ran a tech company with $0, scaled it up to $30 million. I sold it, and then I traveled the world full-time for 2 years. Now, I returned to Singapore, and I'm coaching entrepreneurs because I want to show them how to scale up their businesses the right way. Today, we have Marc Dass on the show. Marc is a good buddy of mine, and he created a really iconic wellness festival called SOULSCAPE, and he grew a community of 12,000 people around it. After that, he started a yoga brand as well, a yoga retail brand, and then he sold the business as well in 2018. So one thing I like about Marc is his human focused approach to marketing. He is a guy that really focuses on the fact that we are talking about humans here. When we market, we're not just looking at numbers. These are actual people that are behind the screens, that are behind the messages that we put out. So that's one message that he stands by, and that's something that I really, really like about Marc. So this episode will be all about that. We'll be talking about learning more about Marc, how he got started, how he builds communities, and how he develops that connection with people. So yeah, Marc. Hang on. Let me have one more segment, which is all about the beers, because this is beer. I know you don't have a beer with you. It looks like beer, but it's not a beer.
I do, man. But I got the authentic tiger glass. Check that. It's got a dragon and everything on it, man.
Well, I do have a beer. It could be business and beverage, actually. But my beer for tonight is Hanalei, which is an island IPA. I like beers, and
is that craft beer?
Better beers. What's that?
Is that a craft beer?
Somewhat craft, I guess. It's quite commercial, but like, yeah, I guess you can consider it craft. The line and definition for craft is quite blurred these days.
Yeah, to me, it's kombucha. That's my kind of drink. I'm a kombucha kind of guy. Or a hot chocolate, but it's too late in the night for hot chocolate, and I'll be up all night if I do that. But
really? Who knows? Hot chocolate gives you keeps you awake?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll be up all night if I was drinking hot chocolate now. But who knows, if this call gets interesting, I might need to pop one out of the fridge. Let's see how far we go with this.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so one thing that I want to talk about is the sponsor. We have a sponsor now, which is awesome. The sponsor for tonight is AOS Bath. They are water heater specialists. So they're sponsoring the show and the beers, which is awesome. So thank you very much for that. If you guys are looking for premium, high-end water heaters, don't break down, last forever, and give you that kind of technology that you need to really like run a hot bath when you want it. And I don't know if you have a experience with water heaters before, Marc, but I do, and my water heater breaks down. So this is one aspect of water heaters that I think is lacking in the industry. There's a lot of focus on fast-moving water heaters, but they break down in like 1 or 2 years, and then you know, that's terrible. So anyway,
this looks exciting. I solved my water heater problem. I just take cold showers now.
What?
I haven't solved the water pressure problem yet. So if these guys do good water pressure, I'm in. I might buy this one. Oh man.
Yeah. That's what they claim to, man. Just get in touch with them. Like the reason why I like AOS Bath, and I don't accept like sponsors from like anyone. And that's why we're having this conversation as well. Like the focus on creating value, the focus on the customer is so important. When I was running Vodian, 3 out of 5 SMEs used us. And I think that doesn't come by chance. That is something that comes by design. And the reason why that was the case was because I also had that focus on the customer. I had that focus on creating value. And that basically returned itself in terms of like, you know, how we grew and, you know, the customers referring other customers to us as well. So AOS Bath, you know, you yourself, these are the qualities that, you know, I want to see on this show, that the entrepreneurs that we bring on board, they focus on the customer first, before profit, before financial performance. That's really important to me. Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, let's jump into it, man. Mark, I know a bit about your history, but our viewers, they do not. One of the things that you did was SOULSCAPE. Tell us more. Tell us more about how SOULSCAPE came about. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, so SOULSCAPE is Singapore's iconic wellness and yoga festival. So it encompasses a full day out. You get to come to the beach and you basically get 20, 25 different types of wellness activities, from yoga, meditation, Pilates, calisthenics, and there's a bunch of vendors, right? So it's everything that encompasses with your whole wellness lifestyle. So you have acai bowls, you have salads, you have juices, you have people that are doing kombuchas, kefirs, anything in the spectrum of like the wellness, from aromatherapies. You have tarot card readers on the more, when we look at the esoteric side, we've got tarot card readers, the healers. So it's all coming together on this very alternative wellness space right now. And I wanted to put this together because I used to run a food business, and when I was running that food business, I realized I was also getting into mindfulness, getting into wellness and yoga, and then I realized that, hey, look.
When is this? How old were you, Mark?
Well, right now, or when I started that?
Well, like when you started that, like.
Good question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. About 32.
Okay.
32.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were you a yoga kind of person, or were you a wellness person, or were you just about to discover that?
I was just about getting into it. And it was funny because when I got into it, I realized, first of all, there's two things, right? One, there were not many guys that were in it. Secondly, there were more people kind of getting into it, 2013, 2014.
Right.
But there wasn't a group, there wasn't a community around it. And I thought, hey, why not let's start a platform, let's start a space where people can connect. Start off as a Facebook page, and that took off really fast. We had like 200 people on the page for the first like 3, 5, 6 months, and then suddenly it just boomed. Over a period of time, it climbed to like 1,000 and 5,000 people, and I think we eventually hit about 7,000 people on that site on the Facebook page. And then we had a website that I wanted to create, an all-in-one site that would have everything to do with the mind, body, and health, information about wellness that people could take in, and find out where all the fun yoga studios, gyms were. Because one of the things then was that was when all the wellness studios started coming up, right? People were like, oh, Alvin, he's a great yoga instructor, but I think he's somewhere in the East. And then
right.
you would have to go to WhatsApp, right? And then you'd connect. And I thought, why don't we start a directory from it? So the directory became content, and then content led to SEO. And then I was like, how can we scale up this from content marketing point of view? We got into the whole advertising, and next thing you know, we're a magazine. We had about 30, 40,000 people on the site every month. We were almost the size of a small magazine. We had SPH. We were on the accelerator. They took a small stake in us as well. So we came a long way in about three years. Now, to answer your question directly about why and how did I get to the event, the online space was not enough, Alvin. It's not enough to connect, because I came out saying I wanted to connect people. But when you're online, it was just hard to connect. I mean, when we're talking about no Zoom then, Skype, not really. No StreamYard, none of this. Not really. Live streaming wasn't in then. So how do you actually connect? So I was like, we have to connect people offline, and that's my thing. I like hugging people. I'm a hugger. I like connecting people. I like doing this kind of interview, one-on-one, meeting people. I love that. And so we started creating small events. We did very small events. We did 20, 21, 25 events in about 14 months. And they started growing from like 10 people to 20 people to like 50 people. And then we were like, look, why don't we just put everything into a yoga festival and try it? And then our first event, I am rambling on, but can I tell you about my first event? Like when I did it, we didn't have money.
Hang on. This is really interesting. Like, hold that thought. But I want to ask you, like, do you think the digital landscape is different right now? Like, if you were to start a festival like SOULSCAPE right now, when there's like Zoom and Google Hangouts and like Microsoft Teams and all those things, would it be different? I think it's one aspect of it that you can leverage, but if you want to do a festival, the main thing, one of the few things that you have as key factors would be atmosphere and the ambience, right?
you've got the human interaction element.
Yeah.
And that is why people crave the events, because you've got the sound, the light, the music, the people, and the sensory elements there. You know, and people still crave that. People still crave that. I think having the digital as an add-on element. So you're in the US, you're where you're in Australia, and you want to take part in the festival, but you can't be there. Then it's great, because then the digital aspect helps you to leverage and reach out to an audience that can't attend it. And you can also then do other things like videos post the event, right? Interviews with celebrities who have attended, interviews with people that were part of the event, that were the leaders and the influencers, or the participants, the artists, and so on, right? And that can kind of build that up. You can have an extension of the experience, or the brand experience can go through the digital for a longer period of time. And I think that's great that what you have now. But I think it's still very important to have the offline experience, and that's where you want to gel the online and the offline experience.
Cool. All right. Yeah, that's awesome. I think a lot of people, especially like our last guest, was talking about the digital aspect of life these days, and he does events as well. So his name is Derek, and he runs a theater production company, a theater and events company. So one of the things that he's exploring is basically like a digital platform, mainly because these days it's not because we don't want to. It's more of the fact that we cannot hold events. So that's a very interesting thing, right? Whether or not digital events will be popular and will be able to take over what used to work in the past, just the face-to-face aspect, the interaction aspect, the community building aspect of things.
Yeah, I've seen. I know Derek actually. I've seen his coverage that he got on press recently. I think it's interesting. It's a small world, but yeah, I think what he's doing is very interesting. It will probably define or shape a little bit more how the theater world operates. Speaking of theater and speaking of live events, there's also going to be the Candlelight Orchestra, which is a new event. I think that's coming in January, which I just saw yesterday. So, those are still going to be live events. Right. And I think that is still very experiential. People are. I mean, look at Singapore Airlines and the lunch, right? The lunch they did on the plane recently. That's an event and sold out. 30 minutes, right? They had sold all the economy class meals out.
That is true, man.
It's testament. People want that. It's whether it's so interesting, so catchy, so connecting. Can you drive that experience that we're all craving on lockdown and on a beautiful island, but very small island. So
that is the thing, right? Like, I think people are bored and people want events. People want entertainment. People want that connection that they used to have and now are lacking of. And that's what events bring, right? And speaking of events, we have Felix Sim. Felix is a good buddy of mine who runs an events company.
Very nice.
So I think the word events has gotten him a bit excited. But yeah, guys, there are a couple of you on stream right now. I see at least a few dozen of you. Drop a comment, say hi. Today we have Marc Dass, and that's going to be an awesome event talking about how we can build communities, especially this day and age where things are a bit different in 2020. How do we do that? How do we build a community around our message, our business, our solution, our product, our interests? I think Marc's a great person to ask about that because of his experience in SOULSCAPE, the most iconic yoga wellness festival in Singapore. He built it up to 12,000 people. That's no small feat. So today we're going to find out more about how he does that, how he did that, and what he will do today, and how we can learn from Marc. Wow. Yeah. So
was that a question from Felix? Was that Will end?
There's a question from Felix. There's a question from Jim as well. Can you see Jim's question?
I can see the question. Will an all digital event be successful these days?
No. On the right, there's this like little icon that says comment.
Yeah. Felix, did I hear events? Yes, you did. So Jim, I think maybe I'll just do Felix's question, which was, will an all digital event be successful these days? Was that Felix?
Oh no, this is wait a minute. Can you see this?
There you go, Jim. All right. What are the most essential tools to host a world-class all digital event? Zoom, EventAir. I have lots of leads come in and asking to host an event. Can I send them your way? I'm not in the business of hosting events now, Jim. We used to do that. I think there are a lot of tools. There's things like Hopin. What's it? Hop on. Event on, Hopin. Zoom, EventAir. I think there's so many tools that you can use, right, to run the events. But I think tools are one thing, but also making sure that you have your back-end support. That's very important, right? So the tools give you the uptime. I mean, you make sure you've got your bandwidth and you make sure you've got your tech in place, but things could fail. And the thing about events is that don't forget about the back-end portion where you make sure you've got your support staff and your customer success staff as well. I think that's how we opened up the conversation here. The key to it is still maintaining that level of customer interaction, customer engagement, and making sure that people need something from the event. You know, they're gonna want to know about how do they want to contact some of the artists. Oh, my ticket's I can't log in. Something's failed. I can't attend the event. What do I do? I think that's important for world class. Not entirely about the digital, but it's about how you bring that experience and translate it. And when you're at home, that experience is going to be so many different things, right? You can host very small community events, and you can do luncheons where you are sending food to people, right? So they have teas, they have Zoom tea meetings, they have Zoom meetups, and while you are in your home, a package comes to you, and suddenly it's tea, and you've got food from your cafe. It could be Starbucks or Coffee Bean or whatever it is, and the host has actually sent it to you. So now you're interacting like as if you were live, but you were not. So those things give you the small offline experience that translates back online, and I think that's very important. I think when it comes to world class, it's really about how you translate that brand experience or the interactivity that has been lost offline. How close can you replicate that offline?
Yeah, that's true, man. I always say that it's not really the tools that matter. It's not how you do it that matter, but what you're focused on that really, really matters. Felix actually runs a events platform. So Jim probably needs to check that out. Felix runs Interchange. So check Interchange out, man.
Check out Interchange. Right.
Yeah. We have a question from Candice as well. Candice is asking if we can integrate. This is Marc's specialty. So Marc specializes in offline, online marketing. Like how when we talk about integrated marketing, we're not just talking about digital only, offline, or whatever, right? We're talking about like a whole spectrum. Like, because one of the things that Marc focuses on is the human aspect of things, right? And as humans, we don't just go to one channel and stay there. We are present in a few channels. Every day when we wake up, we go to work, we see a billboard, and then there's a media ad in the car. There are phone, there are stuff that happens on our phone as well, banner ads, videos, advertisements that pop up on our social media. And then we get to the office, and then there's another billboard on the lift lobby, stuff like that. It's an offline and online experience that Marc is really specialized in. And so I think Candice has asked a question that's quite suitable for you.
Okay, so I think when you're looking at the online and offline experience for retail and events, I think one of the technologies that I think can come to play is actually AR. I think VR is a little bit still far away because of the tech adoption. If you think about it, I mean, everyone's talking about VR, Oculus, Facebook's gone on it. But I mean, how many of us actually have the headsets? We don't, right? But with the AR, I think there's a big opportunity there. So I think Candice, like one of the things that I've seen is actually the use of AR on the offline side, where it can actually translate. So imagine if you're going around at an event and you've got your phone and you do, let's say, a treasure hunt with AR, right? You can start popping up different things like how Pokemon used to run, right? On your mobile phone. And then you start collecting points, and then there could be a leaderboard, and then suddenly you're interacting with people that are around you, right? So I think that could translate very nicely into the whole online to offline experience. And you can take that away with you because you've got the app on your phone. You've got big tech events that are like Rise in Hong Kong, Rise actually everywhere. A lot of these tech events now also have their own apps which allow you to interact to not only like check into your scheduled route that you've gone into on the offline experience, but also then to interact with people, right? It's got chat functions on it and so on. So I think it's about how, like I said earlier, how do you take, these are just ideas that we have and that we've seen, right? Taking what the offline experience is and translating it online so that when you walk away, you still have it. Now, if you can't even attend and you can't even be at the offline experience, can you take that, or can you have a piece of that with you at home? If you look at one of the things that I was trying out was club events on Zoom, which was really weird, like when we were on lockdown, but you had live DJs, you had big DJs that were playing. I can't remember who. I think I watched, I think I might give away how old I am by telling you some of the DJs. But, I was watching some of the DJs play online live sets, almost like
supply.
Yeah. So, and that was really cool because people were dancing in their rooms, I mean, you got your beer out, you turned on the lights, but you had the DJs playing, and it was as if you were there. So it's translating that offline experience that you couldn't have because you're on lockdown, and you're translating it online, but you're in your house, right? So I think that's COVID has forced so much of thinking around this, right? It's so much of pressure has been put on us to adapt, to go out there and to experience, and I think we're seeing a lot of those things translate. I think Adrian talked about a VR yoga fest. Yeah, quite possibly. Adrian, I think that could be something quite interesting, a VR yoga fest, although you might get quite dizzy if you do a downward dog with your VR headset on. You gotta be careful with that one. I mean, I think that would be funny if they did that.
Are you like a yoga person right now these days? Like a yoga practitioner?
I'm more a Pilates guy now. I'm more a Pilates guy. Yeah, I was more on the yoga side, but I go to yoga more for the mind experience, the meditation. Hey, Rina Lim says, "Hello, boys." Hello, Rina.
Hey, everyone. You guys, thanks for tuning in. I know a bunch of you are watching this stream. So Mark and I are talking about events right now. That's his specialty, like building up a community. If you like this stream, even though it's business and beer, and I'm drinking beer and Mark's drinking tea, that's fine. We're still talking business. Drop us a like, drop us a comment, like say hi. We are replying and responding to all the comments. And share this with people. Get more people in. We'll get the questions flowing and get Mark hopefully drunk on tea so that you'll share more stuff with us.
Drop more bomb. Adrian says, no one wants to see me do yoga. Yeah. How's your basketball going, Adrian? Or maybe, Adrian, if you do some topless yoga, they want to see that.
Oh.
Adrian's got a hot guy. Come on, Adrian. All right.
Oh, man. we don't wanna anger Sherilyn. All right, so let's jump back to how you were like you didn't just end with SOULSCAPE, right? Like after SOULSCAPE, you were talking about another event that you were doing.
Post SOULSCAPE, which event? Sorry. Just now when I was telling you what was our first. No, I was going to tell you how we started with our first event.
Oh, okay.
I was going to tell you how we started our first event. Cheers, Amanda. You're on tea as well. Good on you. So I was going to tell you how we started our first event. So our first event, we wanted to do a yoga event, right? And so we decided to do it on the beach because I always wanted the elements. I always wanted the sun, the sand, and the sea. And so we said, let's do a half-day event. And once we did our budgeting, we realized that, oh man, we didn't have enough money. We're a young startup, right? And we were like, okay, how are we gonna do this? So we couldn't even pay for lights.
Wow.
So because we couldn't pay for lights, we changed it into a night yoga event with tiki torch and glow in the dark.
Brilliant.
So kerosene lights were a lot cheaper than getting all that generator lighting, and I'm paying for the licenses and everything to set up on Tanjung Beach, and that went crazy. So we had 500 people at that event, 450 people at that event. Everybody came there and we colored them with glow-in-the-dark paint, and we just had like two big, probably like three big UV ultraviolet lights, so they got lit up, and then we just lighted it with tiki torches, and people were like, holy crap, this is amazing, and they actually loved it, right? And then we just had to adapt, and because that experience was the first time doing yoga on the beach in the dark with live musicians. We could only pay for 3 musicians at that point. I think one guy almost came free. So we had a saxophonist. We had a
Wait, did he know? Did the guy know?
Did the guy? He knew. I was like, bro, first yoga event. There's gonna be a lot of girls there. Okay, just come. And he's like, I'm sold. He came with a live saxophonist playing on the beach. So when people got up, they were like, "Oh my god, there's a saxophonist." People thought that it was piped in music, and it wasn't. Right? So until they got out their poses and they looked at it, and then they were like, "Oh my gosh, they're live and they're playing in the middle of the crowd." So that was fun. We had like fire twirlers. Once again, more fire because not enough money to pay for lights, So he's like, let's get as much fire going as we can, right? And people really like that. So we had the elements of fire, the water, the sand, the beach was there. So it was so fun. It was really fun. So that came out in the press. And the thing of about what I wanted to do was to bring this experience to different places. So we were the first people to do yoga rave in the dark with trance music. We had a trance music party after that. We also did it in the National Gallery when it first opened.
Wow!
And that was a charity event, so we did it right at the Dome. So that was a lot of restriction and regulations that were there because they were like, do not damage the art. And we could not even use we could not even use aromatherapy. So we wanted to have diffusers to have the sense, right? We were like the smell, the sight, and the sound with the music, but we could not do that because you're not allowed to bring diffusers in there because of the artwork. So we had so many little restrictions that were there, but we wanted to translate the experience. So people came there and did yoga in the gallery, right? So and then they went to experience art, and there was a Singapore art on exhibition there. What? So it was really fun.
What happened to liability? Because I'm a business person, right? When I hear these things, I'm thinking liability. Like what happens if like somebody gets like, I don't know, drunk on tea or something, and it crashes into an art piece?
Yeah, we took out extra public liability insurance. We had to do a lot of personal guarantees as well. So the paperwork is quite there was only setup is only at specific times. And everything's very controlled, from the trolleys that you bring in, the types of wheels that you roll in on, carpeting, protection, floor protection, all of that kind of stuff. So we were very careful with it. But we've run like 20, 30 events by that time, really small events. And it is always a learning curve. You never really know what's going to happen. You risk manage.
Fingers crossed, man.
Fingers crossed, and just try, right?
Yeah. Who is we?
So me and my co-founders. So it's just me and one other person that my partner before we licensed out the brand. Yeah. So and then we had a team. We had a team around us. We had about 6 people in our team at that point. So it's a very small team. So we're running both the website, the magazine, and the events. And so we were like, there's a gun. Yeah.
And is this like 100% like bootstrapped, and like you guys did not have investors, and everything was all self-funded? Did you have a lot of funds?
Sorry?
Did you start with a lot of funds?
No. We didn't start. We only started with like I quit my job and then
Hang on. I think this is the question that people are really going to be interested in.
Yeah.
So guys, a whole bunch of you are on this stream right now. Marc is going to reveal secrets. How you get started with stuff like that. Like how do you even start a festival? How do you even make a festival something as iconic, as SOULSCAPE? That's what we're going to find out. If you guys are liking this, we need to know. Drop us a like. Drop us a message. Yeah, share this stream. Like, click on the little share button and let your friends know. This is 100% free, guys. Like, both Marc and I, we're just here to create value. We're gonna have a conversation, and you guys can find out about the stuff that's happening back end. Like, this is the stuff that you don't hear on the newspapers or in the media. Find out how someone bootstraps and has like no investors and starts organizing events. How, right? So once again, if you guys are liking this, just like, share, comment, get more people in watching this stream, and we will get Marc to share his business secrets. All right, man. Let's Let's go, Mark.
Yeah, so you're asking how we did it bootstrapped.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think a lot of it stems. You know what's funny, right? If I can talk about the non-technical aspect, it's we grew because we cared about the community.
Oh man, I love that. Yeah. I love that.
I honestly think when I look back, and even in the second year, I was like, in the third year, we grew first year, second year, third year growth tapered off, right? So we might have done like 50%, 80% growth year on year, maybe a bit more. And then the third year, it slightly tapered down. And then I realized that the third year was when we started getting more commercial. So when you really put a lot more into what is this community about? Like, who am I really serving? How do I bring them value? How do I elevate their life in some way? What are they seeking for that's common, right? Because we all had this shared common belief of either wellness, I want to live healthier, fitness, I want to get fitter, or the mental aspect of I need to control my mind and my emotions better. What do? I want to be around that positive community. I want to be around the soul seekers, right? The people that vibrate positive energy. And we all started this in 2013, 2014, right? So when you hone in on the first group, you need to get in touch and get dialed in with the first group. And the first group can be 20, 30, 50, and you got to know them really well. And when you find those common factors of what gels you guys and makes you guys a community, then you know how to amplify on that, right? Then you know how to start growing that out.
How do you know that? Because you were brand new to the wellness space, right?
Yeah.
You were brand new. You didn't even start yoga until like it was like 2014 or something.
2013, 2014. Yeah, I was late to the game. Yeah.
How do you even like connect with an audience and a community if it's something that's brand new to you? And I'm sure a lot of the audience also will have the same question, because a lot of them are, sometimes they are startups as well. They just got into the scene. How do they form that authentic connection to the audience? Because I completely agree with what you're saying, that one of the things that can create that engagement is being authentic. But I guess how is that question?
Yeah, I love that, because the answer is already in the question, and the key to it is be authentic, be yourself. Don't front. If you're a gamer and you're trying to front gaming, they're gonna call you out. You're gonna get called out on it, right? If you don't play soccer and you try and like front, like, hey, I want to build a community around football players or soccer players, then you're gonna get called out on that. Okay. So the first thing is the authenticity and being real. Like, what if you're a community manager, a community builder, or if you're an entrepreneur that says, I want to start my business. Okay, look, let's start a dumpling business. Okay, let's start hey Amanda, hey Ben, what's up? Let's say you're going to start dumplings tomorrow, and that's going to be your new entrepreneurial business. I want to run a home-based dumpling shop. I'm just talking about dumplings because I had some awesome truffle dumplings today. But let's say you want to start a dumpling business. You find people that like dumplings, but you want to find you want to find people that are as crazy as you about the dumplings, like the skin, the texture. Can we get like 5 different flavors? No, your chili sucks. You cannot do it this way. The hardcore like dumpling fans. You find that people, because they're so gelled in with you, and they know what you want. They know that experience. What's the experience? The taste experience that you have, right? The sensorial experience. How are we going to deliver this authentic dumpling experience to someone? That could be it. And when you come to yoga, or when you come to the wellness, where I was a seeker. I was seeking a better body that's more flexible, right? And not just stuck in the office all the time. I was seeking the mental calmness from the meditative aspect of yoga. So I talk to people. You got to meet and talk to people and find out, hey, what is it? Do you like this? Do you not like this? Are you also a seeker? You find the people that gel with you, that resonate with you, that want to do this. Right? And don't scale it from the start. Don't scale it. People want to go like, I want to build 5,000 people in my community. The numbers don't matter. It doesn't. Growing. It just at that point it doesn't matter. What you want is the tightness, the authenticity, the realness of them. You want them to be so in tune with your vibe, with the problem that you want to solve. And when you get that, then you grow your raving fans. Those guys are your ambassadors. Then they do the talking for you.
Oh man, that is so powerful. That's literally doing the things that cannot scale first in order to scale.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's so powerful, because this is something that people always do. Entrepreneurs always do. They try to like jump steps and skip steps and try to like scale first. And that's the main problem. Like one of the problems of scaling up is basically the sequence in which you scale, or the sequence in which you focus on things. And if you focus on the wrong things at the wrong order, then you're gonna be in a big mess. And I
carry on.
I always say, like, one of the things that people ask me, because I coach my clients on scaling, right? And a lot of times they focus on the wrong things. They focus on like things like efficiency first. They focus on like, how do I get the most from whatever I'm doing right now? And they try to like leapfrog the process. When they do that, my favorite analogy is taking part in a sprint with Usain Bolt. I can absolutely beat Usain Bolt. He just has to run in the wrong direction. And that's exactly what happens. Because, man, these entrepreneurs, they're just focused on the wrong things, and they are super fast, but they're running in the wrong direction, and that just causes a big mess at the end of the day.
I want to get a sense. Are there people who are on the channel now? Are there business owners or aspiring business owners, or people, or entrepreneurs? If you just keep keen a yes, so they just kind of get a sense of whether there are people who are wanting to start their own business or in it now and looking to build as well. If you guys could just give me a comment or a yes, or give a wave, then we can kind of get a sense of that. All right. So one of the things that I always ask like new entrepreneurs or business owners, right, when they're coming out with a new retail concept, especially on the retail concept side. So whether it's a studio, gym, food business, etc., right? Even if they're selling direct to consumer and they're online, like, where is the first 100? For some people, it'll be, where's the first 50, right? Hey Sean, thanks for that. You need to know who's the first 100 or who's the first 50 that you're going to bring in. Hey Lak, thanks for that. If you cannot find the first 100, you cannot find the first 50. That is not your mom, your dad, your sister, your friends, or your family. They've got to be the paying customer. Okay? Yeah. They've got to be that paying customer. When you find that first 100, then these are the guys I need to continually look for. And then you start going deep with them. Then from that 100, you take the top 10, top 20%. You take them for lunch, you call them up, you speak to them, and you find out about them, what drives them, what their motivations are, why they bought you, why did they not buy your competitor, why did they repeat purchase, why did they come back to you, what are the alternatives out there if they didn't choose you, what are the 5 factors that they took in their mind to make them decide that they want to buy you. Was it efficiency, was it price, was it taste, was it quality, right? Was it speed? It could be so many things. And then you know how and what your competitive strength could really be against your competitors. Because we're dealing with hotel brands, right? So we've done hotels, we market resorts as part of our digital marketing. What you may think is nice is not what the customer thinks is nice. You may think they're coming there for your swimming pool because you spent a lot of money building that Olympic-sized pool in the hotel, but they're really there for the awesome burger or the fact that it was super quiet in the block B, or the fact that they can just get away, right? Or it could be something totally different out of your mind that you didn't think about. It could just be because somebody in the 100 raving fans told them you need to go there.
Yeah.
So you need to dial in tune with the first 100 and find out why are they picking you, and then you start growing the community around.
Yeah, that is something that boggles my mind too, because people don't interact with their customers. Again, this is something that differentiates you. You are very focused on the humans. Normally, business owners, the customer is just a number, and I hate that. Like, I mean, why? Like, if you bring a business all the way down to the basics, all the way down to the roots, right? It's just basically you selling a product or service to another person. That's the genesis of a business. And when you grow and you scale, I think people start losing their focus, and there becomes this like wall in between you and the customer. And I think that really like separates and creates that barrier, where what you are different about is you're always and constantly having that in mind. And what you're saying is that business owners should never lose that connection with their customers, and I completely agree, because that connects and creates the avenue of validation, that avenue of finding out whether or not what you're doing is serving your customer, whether or not your product or service is really providing a solution to their pain points. That is the whole reason why we as entrepreneurs exist.
Why you exist, right? That's your reason for existence. Because if you're not driving the value and fixing the problem, hey, they're not going to be paying money. It's an exchange, right? It's always a value exchange. And people exchange money with you for something that you're fixing or doing or elevating in their life. Simple, right?
Exactly, man.
So I think you should always focus on the customer, because they are the ones cutting you the checks, and that fills your revenue stream and allows you to continue building the dream.
Yeah. People always say customer is king, but I don't think they realize why or what that actually means. And I think customer is king. That sentence, we're not just saying that the customer is always right or that we must always please the customer, but customer is king because the business is surrounded, or the business is actually because of the customer. What you're doing, your product, your service, you're not creating it because you like the product or service. If that's the case, then I don't think the business will work. What works is if you create a product or service that the customer likes. And when you find that connection, that's when you're going to get a successful business. That's when you realize that you can grow. That's when you realize that you can scale. The business that has a product or service that only the founder likes or only the founder finds useful is a terrible business.
Yeah, I think the technical term for that would be like product market fit, right? I mean, like jargon, and say like, hey, do you have product market fit? That's what it means. It means, does your product meet the market and the consumer at that point in time that they're willing to exchange money for you to buy it? Cool. Owyong, you're building a DIY community out of love for all things DIY. That's awesome, man. Hope that's going well. Hit me up with any questions if you want. Like, I hope to get you some answers that can help get you some clarity on this.
Yeah. We've got some good comments here. Jim says that the Dream 100 sounds like a page taken out of Russell graphic secrets. Hey, how do you know Brunson didn't take it out from Mark?
Exactly. I was saying this 3 years ago. Actually, I found that out. I found out the hard way in 2015. That's when we started the yoga retail. 14, 15, we started the yoga retail brand, and then we started making accessories. We started making accessories, high performance yoga accessories, mats, blocks, straps, and everything for yoga studios. And we sell it B2B and also B2C. So that was a bit scary because when we make shipping orders in, you order in bulk. You get like a container full coming through, and you're doing like 80 Gs, 100 Gs, 50 Gs out. Sorry, Gs meaning like 50,000 in cash that you're doing for an order, which sits and you don't have a pre-order on it. Back in the day when we're not doing like Kickstarter or fulfillment, this is a real retail business, traditional business that we're running. And you better find the first 100, you better find the first 10 B2B customers that are going to buy, or you're going to be sitting on stock in your warehouse. Yeah. And that's scary. That's very scary. So once we found the sweet spot of who would buy from us, the ideal. So to give you a context to it, how we would look at that would be the ideal size of the studio. So I need to know what your square footage is, the number of people that are coming to you, if you had business plans for expansion, what your cash flow potentially was looking like. We needed to know also who the owners were. Were they particular about the quality? Were they particular about eco-friendliness, about using rubber mats as opposed to TPE mats? So we had to really understand, and this boils down to the psyche, because if they're not into that kind of product and if they don't want that quality, they're not going to buy from you. They just buy something cheaper from China, right? And so that product market fit was so important, which was the earlier point. And getting to that first 100, in our case, it was like the first 5, the first 10, because they would do bulkier orders. And then there would be a repeat purchase in 6 or 8 months' time. So that was, our repurchase cycle was long, but it was a bit more bulky because it was B2B, right? So to answer your question, I mean, that's how I would look at the connection between product market fit, understanding who your customer is, customer profiling, and then customer service, right, straight away. Cool. That question.
Yeah. We have one more question from Edrea Teo. She's asking, once we make the connection, how do we continue to keep them engaged? I think I know the answer to this, but take it away, Mark.
You go ahead. I want to hear what you got.
All right. So here's the thing, and this is something that applies to all businesses in whatever stage you are at. The moment you start becoming transactional, the moment like there's the implication in Edrea's question. She's saying that once we make the connection, we can just like shelve it and then move on. I think that's the key. If you do not maintain that connection, if you do not, continue to engage by being authentic, by providing value, by connecting with your customer, you're basically moving to a transactional state. As long as you move to a transactional state, you're going to lose that customer, you're going to lose that connection, you're going to lose the reason why we are doing this in the first place. And that community that you're trying to build, it will never take off. Simply because you're not treating everybody as a transaction. Everybody is not a number to you, and that's basically the point that we're trying to drive at right now. The way Marc has built communities is not transactional at all. Marc is highly human centric. Everybody that is a customer or a participant or somebody that is taking part in his event, that person is a human being, and that's something that Marc knows and recognizes and is very, very cognizant about. And he always tries to have a real, sincere, authentic connection with that person.
Yeah, so that's brilliantly answered. I love that. I'm just gonna extrapolate from everything Alvin just said. I'm gonna talk to you about it in terms of channels. Like Alvin did an awesome job in that. So also speaking out to Amanda and I think CK Owyong who are on this. So hopefully this comes in as useful to you guys. Now, taking what Alvin said, I was going to bring it across and looking at it in terms of two things, right? Content, community, and then commerce. But the fourth C that I want to talk to you about is now channels. So how do you keep them engaged? Look at the channels on which they are engaging with you right now, okay? So for example, Owyong or Amanda, if you're talking to them on Facebook, that's your one channel. If you've got them on email, that's your one channel. If you're talking to them on WhatsApp and you've got a WhatsApp group, that's your one channel. You need to make sure that your channels are then filled with the next C, which is content. And that content needs to be content that's useful, that either value adds about the lifestyle around what you're doing. So for Owyong, who's up here, and he's building a DIY community. So the DIY community has a lifestyle around it, right? What kind of, so things that you may be doing on a Saturday, they may be doing it on a Sunday or midday. DIY is part of their life. They may be fixing things for their home. They may be fixing things for the office. It's something to do with their lifestyle. So put in content that is useful for them in the channel that they want to consume the most. LinkedIn may not be your best channel because it's too differentiated at that. But if you've got them onto your Facebook group, then do it there. If they don't, check your emails. Send out your emails. Do it regularly. If your open rates, your click-through rates are very low, then look, they may not just be engaging with my emails. That may not be the best channel. They love chatting on WhatsApp. Then make sure that you are engaged on WhatsApp. So channel marketing and the content that goes in it is going to be super important to keeping them engaged. The type of content will determine how engaged they are. And of course, just like Owyong was saying, looking forward to phase 3. I think everyone's looking forward to phase 3, my man. Some new announcements coming out. We might get 8 people. So make sure, Owyong, you get them out face to face because that's going to seal it. That's the gel that seals your community in, right? And you being the leader or the connecting part of this community, make sure that you're there to facilitate. And that's going to elevate your position in the community and you become a thought leader, be someone that's known, be helpful, be useful to them, and then just go with a good intention to spread some love in the DIY community. That's it. Just bring some love out there, brother. So that's how I would do it. I hope that answered your question. Thanks, Edrea, for that. I appreciate it.
Cool. We have so many questions that have come in. Jim is asking on YouTube. He left a comment asking if there are any marketing books that have inspired your process.
Honestly, Jim, no, I don't have marketing books that have inspired me, but I listen to a lot of audio. So people like Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, Tim Ferriss. I draw a lot of inspiration for them. I listen to a lot of marketing theory stuff. and Richard Branson as well. These are people that I find have really influenced me a lot. In terms of marketing and tactics, I think specifically when you're asking about SOULSCAPE, honestly, bro, like in 2014, there was really 13, there was not much that was going on other than me just saying, okay, let's just gun it and let's just try. Part of the reason why I did it was because I was like, look, I'm 32, I'm 33. Okay, I had this notion that if I don't do it now, I'm not going to do it. If I don't leave that prior engagement that I was with building the food brands and do this now, I'm going to miss the boat. That's what I felt.
Are you 33 right now? Just curious.
I'm 39 as of last week. I just turned 39.
Holy crap! You do not look 39, bro. Must be the yoga.
Must be the yoga. and the tea in a beer glass.
Oh man. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
When I felt, I was like, look, this is something that I had to do. I just went in there, run it and gun it, right? If you don't try, you don't actually know. So we ran out there and just started doing the events and just iterating as it goes along. There are lots of failures, lots of challenges along the way, but you just kind of gun it. But those guys are really the inspirations that I've taken from through it all. So thanks for that question. Thank you, Rena. I appreciate that too. You're getting a tea on me.
I think we need to
appreciate that.
Segue into like skincare regimes.
Yeah. I'm waiting for someone to ask that. Oh, thanks, Sean. I appreciate that. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate that, brother.
Sean just celebrated his birthday too. Lots of October babies on this.
Oh, happy birthday to you, Sean, my fellow Libran.
All right. Felix is asking a question, really, really interesting, because Felix runs an event organizing business.
Yeah.
And he's asking a question, if we were to organize, or if you were to organize a public 100% virtual event, which country would you target? No, the answer is that it depends.
Yeah, the answer is that it depends on the content that I'm pushing out, Felix. So if I organize a public 100% virtual event, which country would I target next year? If I was doing wellness and fitness, I would do Australia, US, potentially Indonesia as well, and Hong Kong. Those are the countries that I would target if I was doing wellness fitness, because I know that audience exists there and I know how to target them well from an online perspective. So when we used to do video marketing for SOULSCAPE on Facebook, when we used to run ads, I used to do about 0.0002 cents a view, or 0.002 cents a view at least, 0.001 cents or a fraction of a cent for views. We had CPCs of like under 5 cents at that point. So I know how to target them and I know what the interests are, just because we've done a lot of split testing around it. And I run an agency now where we're doing advertising for health, wellness, fitness brands. That's a primary business right now. So those are the countries that I would target.
Cool. Guys, if you are liking this, like and share, man. Like and share. Just hit that like button. The share button is right next to it as well. I think Mark's really dig answering all the questions that you guys are posing.
Yeah. So TK, you're asking, awesome that you're on WhatsApp and you're like the best channel for highly engaged conversations. Any pointers for growth? You could use tools. When you're talking about growth, are you talking about growth on customer acquisition point or growth within the WhatsApp chat point? Growth within things like looking at the customer acquisition point, I would look at social media ads, running them to click to WhatsApp. Okay, and you can use tools like lead boosters. I don't know them, but I'm plugging them here. Hopefully they buy me chocolate one day. You can use tools like that to then drive ads. You can use tools like that to then get people straight into the group. So imagine when you see those ads, you click it, and then instead of taking you to a web page, it takes you and pushes you into a WhatsApp group. You can do things like that. So that would be on the growth of the customer acquisition side. When you're talking about pointers for growth of WhatsApp-based communities within the app, brother, I'm going to come back to my point on content. You need to be honed in on that content. Secondly, think about a referral model. Ask and encourage your community, hey, do you think somebody else is going to benefit from this? Like, watch me do it now. Do you think somebody's going to benefit from this talk that I'm doing with Alvin? Please share it on your Facebook page. Please share it on your WhatsApp group and tell them to come in right now and put some comments down. So just like what I'm doing right now, you do that also on your WhatsApp. Referral models are great for WhatsApp. Second thing is also looking and leveraging on people that are as close as possible to your DIY community. So find out people that could benefit from DIY that are on the peripheral of the DIY, and then work with them as collaborations. There's so many people willing to collaborate. Collaborations are the fastest way to grow communities of engaged people because they're already in the same mindset and they could have bought into it. So if I'm doing a pet store, right, I would then deal with companies or partner with companies that are doing pet food products, pet accessories, right? I would look at the dog clubs, the cat clubs, the bird clubs, and talk to those people. All right, be very specific in the content. The content for German Shepherd dogs is different from Golden Retrievers. The content for parrots and macaws is different from the content for merboks or pigeons, right? Which are more the songbirds. You see, so you've got to narrow down the content.
You're very familiar about birds, bro.
It just came to my mind. I wanted to be an ornithologist when I was young, right? So the content is very skewed to those people because they like that particular, they have a different behavior type within the entire pet industry. Just like how the DIY industry is going to have subgroups within that, you need to talk to the subgroups within that. Wellness has different subgroups. You've got high intensity, you've got yoga, you've got Pilates, you've got calisthenics, you've got esoteric remedies, etc. Everybody has got different content that they are resonating with. Wow. People who throw down the iron and hit the weights, they don't really want to talk so much to people who are in yoga pants, right? Male, female, yin yang, energy is also different. So you gotta accommodate for that kind of stuff. Felix, how do you come up with content for events? So great, easy way, Felix. Get 3 people, 5 people from the community, put them in a room and ask them questions and ask them what do you love about this community? What do you love about what we do? What do you hate about what we do? What do you not like about our competitors? Then you can write contrarian content, right? Why is it that you're here? What do you think that we solve? If we continue what we are doing, how do you think like our product is going to change the world? And there you have it. You've got content. You've got enough content to go around. You can also use things like, you can use Google Trends, obviously Google Research. You can Quora is great as well. So you can go there and find so much content that's trending right now, and that would be trending in your particular area of field as well. So I hope that's helpful for you.
Yeah, I realized there's this website called Ask the Public as well, askthepublic.com. They list a whole bunch of questions that the public is asking. So that's a great place to source for what ideas and content ideas as well. And I love the fact that you are 100% congruent with the message that you're believing in, the message that you're standing for, which is be authentic, right? And like what Felix is asking, your answer is basically go back to the source, which is your customer, which is the person that you're trying to engage. So you're just trying to find more people like them. You're just trying to find more reasons or the more ways that you can better engage them with. And I guess this lays the foundation for anything that we do. Like in Felix's question, it could be like creation of content, but Edrea was asking the question of engagement, and I guess that's the same thing. Like as long as you have that one person in mind, just use that, and that will probably fix or give you the answers to many questions that you have in mind. If you just like simplify a business and go all the way back down to just you and one customer, try to do that really well and then grow it from there, it'll be a lot better than just like starting from like somewhere else and trying to take a pray and spray approach to a mass audience and trying to find something that works from there. I think that's a less effective method.
Yeah. So I'm glad, Felix. Hey, you're welcome, Felix. I'm glad this is getting you some good value, and you're going to be killing it real soon in your community. Awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Jim's right. Sorry, it's answer the public, not ask the public.
Answer the public, yeah. Answer the public
ask, and then All right, cool. All right, guys. If you really like this, like and share, man. This is something that I think we got a lot of value from. We got Marc to really share like how he went through that whole journey, what got him to be the person he is, how a person like him starts with no investments, no external investments, no external investors, creates and organizes one of the most iconic events in the wellness space in Singapore, and then starts building and engaging such a large community of participants. Lots of people like dropping comments now. Thanks, Lark.
Thanks, Lark. Appreciate it. Hope you get some value from that. Cheers. Thanks, Jim. I'm glad you liked our site, intheloop.asia. Appreciate that.
Is this the same company? Is In the Loop the same company that was running?
So In the Loop's the digital marketing agency, and then we created SOULSCAPE as a sub brand. So one of the things that's also quite interesting is that SOULSCAPE is actually just a brand, and the brand itself has some brand value to it because we managed to license out the brand to a third party now. That was always the big goal, right? How you can expand it, but with COVID and the economy turning down, we're not going to be able to do that event. But we'll see. Actually, next year we might come back with a micro version of SOULSCAPE. Everybody out here is going to get invites to come down as well. So just stay on Alvin's community. Just hit me up on Facebook.
Awesome.
Look for me and just hit me up or send me a request, and I'll make sure you guys get invites to that as well. So we'll invite you a resurgence of that next year post COVID. Let's all get together. Do some kombucha shots, throw some downward dogs. It's a day out to wear some yoga pants as well. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Do you brew your own kombucha?
I do. I was brewing my own kombucha for a long time, but my scobies became the size of pratas. So scobies are the starter kits, right? And I was like, what do I do with this? So I started using it as a fertilizer for plants.
Oh my god!
Recycling thing. So yeah, now it's a lot easier to buy it off the shelf.
So in 2013, you started exploring the wellness space, and you basically just went all the way deep into this.
I went deep. Man.
One question that I have, is you started in 2013. 2015, you probably weren't an expert by any measure, right?
No.
But yet you were creating a community, and that's something that I get asked a lot as well. Like, because when you create communities, people expect that they have to be the expert, they have to be like the guru.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is that it's not necessarily the case. You don't need to be the best or the most proficient person in the room in order to build a community around that topic. Is that right?
That's right after you overcome your imposter syndrome.
Oh man.
you know what I mean? Like we all have this, like, I want to share, I want to help, but am I good enough? Am I worthy enough? Can I share my message with people? Like, I went through that as well. So half the time I'm thinking, like, what do I do? Am I the right guy for this? Like, is it okay if I do it? But if you come from a place of authenticity, of wanting to help, of sharing your message with people, I think it's totally fine, because you should, because you only get one life. Okay. Yeah. And we're all going to end up in the same place. And life, when it comes to, don't worry, you'll get the whole dish. You'll get born, and you'll not make it through as well. And the life always wins. We never win. Life is happening for us, but it's going to come to an end. So while you're here, make sure you share your voice. And if another thing that we did was, in order to leverage that and make sure that we were on point and real, we worked with chiropractors, we worked with yoga teachers, instructors, nutritionists, wellness advisors, doctors. So we had authorities that were writing content for us. So we knew that we were on the straight and narrow, because you can't just tell people about, hey, this is great for your gluten-free diet. This could help you solve your gastro problem, or you will definitely lose weight if you follow this regime. You can't go out and say stuff like that. It's not right, and it's also going to open you up to a can of worms, and you got to be ready to take that, right? So work with one of the things.
How do we do that? Like, as startups, as small businesses, how do we get these experts to contribute their weight to what we're doing?
If you guys are thinking about that, that's a great question. Everybody likes to get their opinion heard, and people like to get exposure, right? People like to get exposure. People like to get their opinion heard, and especially if they're people of authority, it's a great channel. You know why? Because it's win-win. It's win-win. If there are people who are genuine, and even the people who want to do it for commercial reasons or non-commercial reasons, they just want to get airtime, or they want to share their knowledge. The people that come from the heart, right? I like to deal with people like that, right? Who really want to spread the message, help humanity, make an impact while they're here. These people love to contribute. If your mission, your vision is clear, and they resonate with your audience, they resonate with your audience, they're going to do it with you. They're going to partner with you, which is why the first 100 is very important.
Oh, I love that.
I hope you guys are seeing how we're kind of building the foundation, the building blocks, and coming back to it. And you can see from the starting days up to the days when you start scaling out and becoming bigger, right? It's going to help. It's going to help.
Yeah, totally. I love that. So we're always going back to the foundations, the fundamentals, and that is what will cause and will allow us to really grow, to really scale. That's the kind of stuff that I teach in my business scaling as well. We really focus on the fundamentals. We're not looking at growth hacks. We're not looking at stuff that might work for like a week and then after that, not. So we're looking at stuff that can really, really create that snowball effect, right? At the start, it's going to be tough. At the start, it's not going to be easy. But as we start pushing it and rolling it down the mountain, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And soon you just like create so much momentum that it's going to roll on its own and keep that growth going on its own. And that's literally just by you starting on the right step.
I know you like systems very much, Alvin. You're very system-oriented, process-oriented. How early in the life cycle are you coaching to get systems in place to your mentees, or when you advise companies? Like when are you starting with systems already?
Well, ideally they are just about done with the growth stage. So like with startups and small businesses, there's always a growth stage. The growth stage is where the founding team, the founder himself, they're still very much in the business and they're maxing out their natural capabilities. And maybe they got a few team members already, but they don't really have anything else other than that. But in order to get to the next level, in order to really scale, they have to put certain things in place. They have to have a really clear vision. They have to understand a business model 100%. They need to know what kind of company culture they're going to create. Because now they're not going to just have a bunch of people working in the office. They're going to try to create an organization. That's what's happening when you're trying to scale, right? So when that happens, all these things must be in place. I work with them also to work out their customer journey, what's going to happen right at the start, all the way to when we fulfill our products and service and get the customers to renew their subscription, their product, or whatever it is with us. And then finally, I look at how we can improve efficiencies. And that's something that I do last, because all these fundamental portions, they got to be in place first. So that's in a nutshell, that's the kind of business scaling framework that I use. And you can see it just works on the fundamentals, the business fundamentals.
What do you think? What do you think is one of the common mistakes that you see with the early stage startups that you worked with, that you even come across, in your conversations with so many startup founders? What is one of the common mistakes that you see?
Well, so I just have to look at my framework, right? And I go all the way back, and immediately one of the things that I ask them is like, is there a clear vision that you're working towards? And sometimes they don't know. So, and this problem is apparent with a founding team instead of a founder. So the problem with a founder is that he doesn't really communicate what's in his head to his team. The problem with a founding team is that they don't communicate with each other. And so while they think they might have the same vision, it might not necessarily be the case. So to give you an example, I was in a hosting space, right? Web hosting. We hosted people's websites and emails. Now, one of the problems is if we say that we are just going to provide a great web hosting experience, and that's the vision that, say, my co-founder and I are working towards, now that's going to be a problem. Because what is good web hosting? What is great web hosting? Are we talking about like speed? Are we talking about the best speed? Are we talking about the lowest price? Are we talking about the most premium price? Are we talking about like really good customer support? Which aspect of web hosting are we talking about? Are we going into budget web hosting? Are we going into like premium web hosting? Are we going into dedicated servers or not? So it's the definition that's the main problem. And not knowing that definition and not knowing that clarity will cause problems, because as we grow, we realize that we're doing things the wrong way. This is a whole big topic, and so I think it's one of the reasons why startups have so much problems communicating with themselves, communicating and engaging the team that they have in their company, in their business. So definitely one of the biggest problems that a lot of companies face.
Yeah. Dalton's got a good question on selling business.
Wow. I will see.
All right, let's hit that one.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's. Do you want to take this first, Mark?
Well, for me, it's the present trend of an entrepreneur to build a business to sell. I think that's what you meant. Dalton, I'm honestly not sure what the trend is to sell, but it doesn't really matter to me, because I think for myself, it's either the reason why we sold was obviously because for my co-founder at that point, she wanted out of the business, and it was at a stage where we grew it and we could monetize from it, right? And we wanted to streamline and focus. So for that reason, and the financial upside, we decided to sell. But in the case of other businesses or a new business that I have, or the case of my current agency that I have right now, I wouldn't want to sell that, because it's different. It's the lifestyle. It's what I want to do. I enjoy it, and also from a it's what sustains me at this point. So for me, I'm not really playing to trends. I'm just playing to how I want to build my life and how I want to grow my business. The business will ultimately serve you. If it serves you from an exit point, that's great. If you've got the VCs on it, you're going to exit, because if they're not making 10x on you, they're not going to invest in you, right? Or the potential. But if it's yourself as a solopreneur, then it's your call what you want to do. And if you did sell it, what would you do with it then? Is it going to grow bigger? You're going to be part of it. You're going to use the money to do something else, et cetera, et cetera. So it really boils down to what your mission, vision, and goal is in life, and where you are in that stage. Some people go through the transition stage and they need to exit. Some people feel that, hey, look, I want to hand it down to the next generation. Some people feel I'm going to keep it because it's the golden goose and I'll just run it and I can have 2 or 3 businesses on the side. So it really depends where you are. Over to you, Alvin.
Cool. Well, you took the words out of my mouth, man. So I think that's a perfect answer, and I think the real answer is that it really depends, right? And what we want is not what we should do with the company, but rather how we set up ourselves in terms of our business. The question is not whether we want to sell the business. The question is whether or not we can sell the business. And the best way to do that is to really have that kind of systems and efficiencies in your business. And that's the thing that I did with my company as well. We didn't set out the company, or we didn't set up the company and set out to sell the business, but we definitely systemized as much as we can and put in so much efficiencies in place that we could step back from the business. And so one day when the opportunity came and the right buyer came, the right time was there, and we were asked if we wanted to sell, and everything just clicked. So we don't want to ever be in a position where, and when I say we, I mean like all entrepreneurs, like we don't want to be in a position where we build a business and we cannot exit if we wanted to. Sometimes it's by choice, sometimes it's not by choice. So hopefully that day never comes where you feel like there's a conflict. And that's why I always want to reiterate that systems are not just in order for you to build a business to sell. It's really for entrepreneurs to kind of build that factory, that business that allows you to finally step away, to be working on the business rather than in the business. And if like you were to want to sell the business one day, then fine. If not, if you want to keep it for the next generation, that's also possible.
I think a lot of it, Dalton, is going to come down to timing as well for you. And for anyone, it's just take a while, right, Alvin? By the time you do your due diligence and the financials, and like things can change real fast, and you kind of like each other. And you have a little bit of a dating game with your potential buyer, see if they gel with you and all that. And then it boils down to the negotiation game with So I think a lot of it's timing as well, and finding the right fit.
All right. Cool. Glad that helped, Dalton. We have come to the end of the show because it's been quite a while. Once again, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of the show. It's AOS Bath. If you guys are looking for a water heater, man, these guys are awesome. We're talking about premium level water heaters that don't break down on you and give you water that's hot when you want it. So they are the sponsors of the show. Check them out, man. If you're tired of your water heater breaking down, this is the people that you should be approaching. So I'm going to wrap up by showing everybody how they can get in touch with you, Marc.
Sure.
I'm sure you guys like what Marc has shared on the show. If you guys want to follow up and reach out to Marc, he's available on Facebook, facebook.com/Marc Dass, or he's very kindly offered a free Facebook audit to the first 5 companies that approach him. If you're interested, hit him up. The email is there, marc@intheloop.asia. Drop me an email, reach out to him, and he'll get you that free Facebook audit. So I just want to give a thanks to everybody that has been watching this show, that has been spending time with us, asking questions, liking this, sharing this as well. So really appreciate this. Once again, we are doing this, just for fun, just to provide value for everybody. And I hope that's what everybody got from this session.
Yeah, appreciate it. Hey, real pleasure being out here talking to everyone. Thanks, guys, for your questions. Dalton, Nick, what's up, my man? Jim, Rena, appreciate that. Edrea, thanks for your questions. All of you guys, CK, Owyong, Felix, hey, I appreciate that. Hope you guys are smashing it with your communities. Hit me up on Facebook if you've got any questions. Absolute pleasure. Thanks for the honor of being out here. Alvin, always a pleasure chatting with you, my man.
Likewise, man. This has been a fun evening. All right, thanks so much, guys.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Ciao.